the 5-part framework, Micah, is very simple. It's like, number one, we look at their track record. Number two, we're looking at their approach. Number three, we're looking at their team. Number four, we're looking at their communication. And number five, we're looking at their values. And like, happy to give some examples within that, but I just think that, a lot of the same themes span every version of this as we've iterated it, and I have to call out.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I'm joined by Spencer, who's been making some serious moves in the commercial real estate space. Spencer, welcome in, man. Glad to have you.
Well, Micah, honored to be here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm excited for our talk today. I think our listeners are really going to take something away from your journey through real estate, honestly. That's what's really hit me in our pre-call talk is you do it very intentionally, and you found a specific place in the industry that lets you create the life you want for yourself, your family, the business you want. And I think that's some of the most important things when it comes to this industry and participating in it. So let's dive in on that. For folks who may not know you yet, what's your main focus right now, and what markets do you operate in?
Yeah, so right now I lead Madison Investing. So it's an investing club for passive investors, or LPs, limited partners. And this has been a labor of love for now coming up on 9 years, Micah. And, never did I think in a million years that this would be the plan growing up. My dad was a broker in real estate. He was selling single family in the Bay Area, California, where I sit here right now. And he had me working open houses as a teenager, and cleaning out fridges to prepare the property. And that's what honestly scared me out of real estate at that age and into tech companies, because it is not fun to tell your friends that you are working in a real estate business and doing open houses on the weekend. So I found myself thrust into a tech career, and I've been now in tech for about 15 years. And as a kid who grew up kind of a punk rock metal band kid, hence all the tattoos and stuff. Like I really thought business was kind of boring, but then I found like a mentor who just led me down this wonderful path of leadership and management, and finding just a passion and a love for that. So now I was with 5 different fintech or financial tech companies like Intuit, Xero, Gusto, Kiavi, and Stripe. And around the time I was with Kiavi, which is like the biggest fix and flip lender in the country, we can get further into this at some point, perhaps. I just got the bug. I got the bug truly to like look more into this investing stuff, because we had 401ks maxed out. We had we had great dual income. Fortunate enough to buy our own house in the Bay Area before the market got so expensive we couldn't buy it all. Growing a family and just asking like, where's the off ramp from this? Because we were sitting there grinding out those startup tech hours. Working 80 hours a week in an office.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Tired because the kids are so young, and asking ourselves, like, something's got to give. Like, how are we going to change this trajectory? So I saw the guts inside of that tech company, which was also a real estate lender. And I was like, people are doing extraordinarily well in this business model, but these are like fix and flippers that we were lending to. And I'm sitting there going, I can't swing a hammer. I need YouTube to fix basic things around my house. Jennifer's more handy than I am. But in the end, like, I do know the economic side of it. I know the finance side of it. I know the partnership side of this world. So I found myself like leaning into the world of rentals, and we went through a journey of buying local, got a property for $430,000 in the Bay Area as our first duplex that we bought. And it was like, way in hindsight, way more money to lay out $100,000 for $200 a month in cash flow. Gone up in value, sure.
Yeah.
For folks based in other markets such as yourself, where you can go find truly great cash flowing properties. Our recipe wasn't going to get us there. So we jumped into finally doing some rentals. We bought in the Midwest. We got like 5 single family rental portfolio we got up to in Kansas City. Way better economics. It was like $60,000 purchase price average, which is, just mind blowingly cheap for folks out here. That's like less than a down payment.
Right. That's crazy, ain't it?
It's still crazy to me. It's hard to find those now. But, this is back in like the 2016 timeline. We were looking at those properties, but we got about $250 a month cash flow at the time for those. And that was like the second phase of the journey in 3 phases. And, but we also learned that that's all semi-passive at best. Rentals are great. I'm actually very pro rental. Like there's a time and a place for those in anyone's portfolio, in my opinion. But young kids, busy jobs, busy life.
Right.
Couldn't add more overhead to that. And in the end, we found ourselves kind of finally stumbling into passive investing as an LP. And so like we found like multifamily and self-storage, and we started wiring off, our first 25K investment into one of those a couple of years into that. And it went really well. And so in the end, it's just been a remarkable journey from then until now. And it's just like the learnings are incredible. We've exited a bunch of deals. I'd say many have gone well. Past few years, we also got some tough learnings as well, but we're not stepping away from this space just because the market isn't as amazingly easy to win in as it was up until about 2021. Right now is the time when deals are happening, and there's a better basis that you could buy these good properties at. So we're leaning in.
And everybody that's done real estate for a long time has lived through their market cycles. I think about Warren Buffett, man. What's he on? Like number 50 now, cycle wise? I don't know. He's seen so many. And what that was for me was like, okay, the key is sticking power. How do you stick? Because whenever you get into real estate, you really don't know what kind of market you're into. You're just getting into it. And I know a lot of guys that got in that 2021 range and were just making it rain, thinking, man, I'm so smart. Real estate's so easy, all this stuff. And then boom, 2023 and 2024 show up. And it's like, oh, now your holes start to get exposed. Are you really a business owner starts to show up? Like all these things that were getting covered up because it was just so easy to get a deal start to show up. And there's a couple good things that happens. One, it gets the riffraff out of the market. It gets folks that were just in there for the quick buck. And then 2, if you'll stick through it and get a cycle under your belt, you are now different. You are a different investor entirely. You start to see things differently. You realize, okay, especially once you got to that LP world and now you got out of your backyard now, or even that second phase, getting out of your backyard. Once the nation opens up to you, now you can chase deals. You're not just sitting there on your hands waiting for your local market to do it. You're now in a place where, okay, where can I go and plug into a good deal? Because there's a deal somewhere in every market. There's always one. How do you find that deal? Now, it may be less deals around, and that's okay. We always go through that. there's less buyers around too. There's less folks mucking up the water because they're not in there just slinging offers that make everything not pencil anymore.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
And ain't that the truth? Yeah, it's definitely a leaner field, right? And I think
Right.
especially in some of the markets that we've found a lot of success in, they've also taken a breath. And it's like I look at the Sun Belt, like DFW in Texas was one of the first markets we leaned into. And I'm so grateful that we did at the time. This is back in like 2017, 2018, around then. But I would say that, every one of those hot markets has had its moments of saying, okay, we're seeing like rent growth, deceleration, or in some cases, we're seeing rents for shrinking in some markets, but we're still leaning into there along with looking into the Midwest and a few places. And that's treating us well so far. So, we're continuing to look. And the thing that emboldens me further as we look at the year and we're saying, okay, 2026, is it going to be more of the same from 2025, 24, where financing is still expensive and the banks are not lending as much? One thing that is consistent is that we've used this like 5-part vetting framework for sponsors and operators that we work with. And at a
Dive
high
into that
level,
for me.
yeah, at a high level, it's the same 5 buckets. The sub bullets, the meat behind them, you better believe that has evolved as we've gotten through the market in the last few years and seen some of the cracks in the armor for some of the operators and some of the deals that we're in. Grateful for the ones that win, but in hindsight, also grateful for the ones that don't, because they help
Right.
you sharpen your pencil. And
Right.
um, it's tuition payments, as we say. I mean, granted, of course, I'd rather not have to pay them, but if we're paying them, let's at least reflect and learn on how to improve from them. And so,
Right.
the 5-part framework, Micah, is very simple. It's like, number one, we look at their track record. Number two, we're looking at their approach. Number three, we're looking at their team. Number four, we're looking at their communication. And number five, we're looking at their values. And like, happy to give some examples within that, but I just think that, a lot of the same themes span every version of this as we've iterated it, and I have to call out, I mean, let's talk about track record. Like, everyone knows, you got to look at what a team has done. You got to think about like, okay, are they brand new to this space? Have they done one deal? Have they done 10 deals? Have they been around for 3 cycles? Or like the Warren Buffett example that you brought up, like 50 cycles. And I used to be more open to emerging sponsors who were like rather new. And I would say that there's a time and a place for that, the hardworking sponsor, but we have learned, I'd say in some cases the hard way, like, they at least got to have a few full cycle exits. They at least got to get these deals under their belt. And one other point here is like, great IRRs, great, exit multiples have been produced in those magical years that you and I were chatting about a moment ago before we started recording today, which is like, look at 2021 or even the first half of 2022. You had these incredible exits from some teams. They bought a property, bought an apartment building, a self-storage facility, sold it in those years when the market was at peak. You better believe their track record looks excellent. Now, in the end, you have to couple that with number 2 on our vetting process, which is their approach. Because the approach, what that really means is they are going to have a playbook. If they really did it and they didn't just get lucky on the market timing, if it's a value add deal, they knew what they were doing, where they sourced from for their materials, for the wood and the metal and its various forms they had to put in for construction. Maybe they had a property management company they stood up on their own. Maybe they had, all these different elements. And if they did it themselves and they know what they're doing, they can show you a great plan to go do it again with the same type of asset in the same type of market that they're already familiar with. It's just like, if I'm learning a guitar solo or something and it's really hard, I can walk you through step by step every one of those little moments for hours and hours of practice that it took for me to hack my way through learning that okay solo. Um,
Right.
and so I just want to bring that up because, you got to know how the sausage is made ultimately behind what produced those track record numbers. And I think that's a tough learning and a key learning for some of the track record review that we now do on sponsors.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Well, those first 2 points are super powerful because they're 100% true, and I love your guitar analogy because I play guitar as well, and so I'm a sucker for it, and it's true. You nailed it. Like, if you're good at it and you're doing it, you can explain how it's done because you've done it. You
That's right.
walk through it. I used to really be into golf, and one thing I always appreciated about golf is you can't talk trash through golf. Eventually, you got to put the ball down and you got to hit it and you got to play the game. So anything in the parking lot, that's one part of your story. And then the other part is, okay, now do it. And no one is good at golf by accident. You didn't just accidentally get good at it. You spent a lot of time, dedication, energy to understand how it all works so that
That's
you
right.
can then go out there and play the game at a high level. And if you're listening out there, man, take notes on what Spencer's talking about right now, because these are golden when it comes to mitigating risk. You can't eliminate it completely, but you can mitigate it and understand who it is that you're working with, because your next three really line up after those. If they have a good track record and then they have a good approach, now the meat and potatoes of it, where you're getting into, what is it? Team, communication, values. Take us through those three. What in those three are you really looking for?
Yeah, on team, gosh, every one of these we could pick apart and just nerd out on, but I'll highlight one that is interesting, right? Um, the makeup of a team, right? Like who's who, because you could work with a sponsor that might have a very small staff. Nothing wrong with that. Like they're lean. They have, CEO. Maybe they got some contractors, or maybe they got a couple full time people. Two key things on this one that are non-negotiable for me now. Number one, they need to have a full time person who owns the financials. And by financials, what I mean is they have to be able to produce professionally packaged financial reporting. And it sounds really simple. It ain't that simple in real estate. And you see stuff that is real napkin math. And more power to the hustlers that are out there. They're just trying to close on that deal. But as soon as you go out and you're starting to consider, like, oh, you're going to communicate. If you're a sponsor, you're going to communicate out to potential LPs and investors. They should and they can expect to review a detailed P&L, profit and loss statement, an income statement. They need to be able to understand the sources and the uses of that money and where it's going to. Because in the end, that's the part that is the truth serum for ultimately how that deal is going. And in the end, whatever excuses might come out or qualifiers might be provided, you just want to make sure you got a person who's full time in there, and they can call them, a controller. They could be the CFO. They could be whatever. But even when they have a fractional person, like, just doesn't quite cut it for me these days. Like they got to have a person that owns that stuff. And so, one other call out, and this is one I'd say that unfortunately we've had to kind of learn the tough way, which is you can have an inspirational, amazing CEO at the helm, but if they don't have at least two people who are in that senior leadership role, and they both have, kind of, call it, I don't know if veto power is the right phrase for this, but we'll say they got some checks and balances in there, because life happens, man. Life comes at
Uh,
people. The hold periods on these deals can range anywhere from 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 years. And so we're talking about big time windows, like longer than college, longer than high school. Like,
Hey,
these are many chapters of life pass in that era. So you need some redundancy. Like, you need people in there who will be there. And, God forbid something happened to the lead sponsor, but you just need someone else in there as a counterbalance and as a check and balance to that. So that had to be one for the team.
That's a great point because you're right, especially in the LP world, you're playing with different time frames. You're living in a world where like it's more like the stock market in a way because it's just you're putting it away and letting it sit there.
That's
It's
right.
in it's like this is not supposed to be an active thing. You don't have to log in and check it every day. It's this is going to be this. It's going to last a long time, but making sure the people that are taking care of it are doing it the right way because
Totally.
it time's passing by. You're switching decades sometimes. And I just turned 40 and I've been reflecting on life and how just different decades are. And it's like, wow, holy cow. It gets me wondering like 10-year plans. How much changes in a decade? I don't know if I can plan out 10 years anymore. Like 5 years is about as far as I can get to just thinking about how fast life has changed so much already on it does. It just pivots. So I love that point. So I was talking to someone else earlier that was a syndicator, and they were big on this next one as well, communication. What's the big point about communication for you in that process?
Biggest point is just treat people like adults, and I think ultimately we can all handle it when something bad happens. It just means don't delay, get the word out there quickly. So if something's good happening, great. It's easy to talk about. If it's not good, just let folks know, in brass tacks, like here's the facts. Here's what's happening, even if the news isn't good. And people can handle it. It doesn't mean I'm going to like it if I hear that that a sponsor is saying, "Hey, I have to pause your distributions," right? Or if it's like, "Oh, we only have a partial return of capital," or like the less fun things about some once in a while in a portfolio in a tough market that has happened. But that's got to be a big one is timeliness. Another piece of it is also and this sounds like the same comment about financials, but this really is quite important. And still on the financials topic, it's like at least quarterly, just sending out a clean, understandable, legible, professionally packaged financial statements, so that is this property on track for their original pro forma? Are they actually delivering on, above, or below the NOI, the net operating income that they forecasted when they first set out and bought this property and started the business plan? And so that's real basic stuff, and just being available. Like if they're not available, meaning like they're not willing to get on a call, that's a pretty darn big red flag. So I'd say that on the communications front, that's got to be it. On values, one thing I'll share, and this is one that sounds squishy, but it's not squishy to me. Is I think about hiring in the corporate world, and the same principle on this one applies for talking to sponsors and operators, which is behavioral interviewing. It's not a new concept. Like anyone who's been inside in a corporate world and they've interviewed people over a period of time has probably heard that term. It just means like, hey, tell me about a time when blank, right? And if someone is going to say, okay, well, for example, here's a question I'll ask on values. It's like, hey, can you walk me through your philosophy on tenant experience for an apartment deal, right? For an apartment syndicator. And, tell me about a time that you've actually like seen this play out in one of your communities or your apartment buildings that you've actually bought before. And it's interesting, we've actually walked away from, I remember one in particular, like one sponsor who looked great on every other possible pillar. They were great on track record, great on approach, great on comms. Unfortunately, he just kind of dodged the question multiple times over. And I wasn't looking for something perfectly packaged. I wasn't looking for anything. I just want to know when we're investing into these things that, yes, of course, we're all capitalists. Like we want the deal to do well. But if, unlike in a storage facility, in an apartment building, people live there,
Right.
real humans, and they're paying the rent. We at least want to know that that is a consideration. And just giving one very specific example without getting too preachy at people, because in the end, of course, we are still investing, and we want to make sure that it performs well financially, and the capital is there and all that stuff. But I digress.
Well, it's I don't think it sounds preachy at all, man. It's especially when you're dealing with asset classes that involve a human being on the other side. Like if there's a human being living in it, you have now introduced a whole new set of rules. Their life is taking place there, just like yours is taking place at your house.
That's right.
That is that is a human that and there and when that happens, there's a mindset that you have to that has to be activated that accounts for their experience. Where in the end, man, on my side, I appreciate people like yourself. If you're willing to walk away from a project because it's not going to check that box, that's actually good for humanity, in my opinion. That is good to happen because that means you're going to go participate in a project that will do it. And I'm big on that value side as well, because in the end, real estate's a relationship business, whether it's with your tenant, whether it's with your more LPs, right? If you can't keep relationships together, you're just not going to last in this industry. And yep, there's the pencil part, there's the numbers, and they have to absolutely work. And then there's this switch side to where it involves a person. And that
Yeah,
that
well
little
said.
gray area where they meet, that has to flow well, because if it doesn't, it's not good for anybody, really.
Yeah.
It's not good for anybody. You're not gonna have a good experience, right? Like, especially when you're someone that actually cares. Fine, you get a lot of money, but if you can go to sleep at night knowing you did that to people, now we got a different issue. That is a whole different thing that we're talking about that leans into the values part, where I got a 10 and a 12-year-old. I'm trying to teach them how to be good people. They watch dad way more often than they listen to dad. So that's the
Ain't
thing
that the
that's
truth?
gonna stick. That's what's gonna stick down the road is what am I actually doing each day? Do I actually do what I say I believe in? It's easy to talk good, but to actually show up in those hard moments and be like, "Nope, that's not the right thing." Those are the things that even myself I think about. That's what my kids will pay attention to. That's a good legacy to leave behind if you're after legacy, something repeatable that stays where, yes, learn how to take care of yourself. You're in the land of opportunity. Don't think small. Create the life that you actually want. You do not have to crush people to do it. That
Man.
is
Yeah.
there's an opposite side to it where in my life, when I've acted that way, I've had the best experience. I'm very big on getting my emotional paycheck paid. I'm also very big on getting my financial paycheck paid, but I don't want to sacrifice one for the other. And the times in life where I did, I was miserable. And I don't want to be miserable. I don't, awesome, you got money in the bank, but you feel terrible. No thanks. Nope, I'm okay. I would rather switch that off, not too much, but I'd rather have that other side taken care of. And now I'm realizing you don't need either. And we were
That's
talking
right.
about this a little bit pre-recording is that's what I love about real estate is there is so many ways to participate. Find that way that allows you to participate without a good quote for it is trading your truth for membership is how I've heard it. Like
Mm.
it doesn't require you to go against yourself to do it. There's plenty of ways to do it, whether that is the more or less passive way like y'all discovered, like single family res, that ain't passive. There's a lot of work involved. So if you're doing that, you're getting another full-time job. You might want to think about going into real estate full-time then. But if that doesn't work for you, what are these other ways? Discovering these other little avenues that let you still participate and the largest wealth generator the world's ever seen, like the American real estate market. Nobody's ever seen it. It's one of the most unique things. I come from, I have a weird backstory, man. I didn't come from anything and was able to get into real estate and have access to a platform that was life changing, just absolutely life changing. And it's like, okay, this is great. And so when I meet other people that are in it, especially like yourself, that have that secret sauce, you actually care. That's all it takes. You just actually care. And for me, when I can't care anymore, I stop doing it. And
That's
I've
right.
come to that point in real estate where I just couldn't care about what I was doing anymore. So I'm not going to do this to anybody. I'm violating my own ethos. What do I pivot to? Where's the switch? And I found that next little niche in real estate that helped me light up, kept me in the game how I like to play. And, real estate's a get rich slow scheme.
That's
It is
right.
all about the long game, long view. We're not here just to start it today and leave. Like if you're in it for a quick buck, fine, have fun, but that is not how you play this game, especially over the long haul.
Man, there's so many nuggets you've had in there, Micah. It's excellent. I think that in terms of the belief, as one has an entrepreneur, I think you're hitting on a topic that I kind of bucket into belief, which is like, uh, this might be a Cardone quote. I think it was like, "Where focus goes, energy flows." I'm not like a big subscriber of Cardone or anything. I just really agree with that, though. I think if you're focused and bought in, you will find the way. And I think in this case, you got to have that focus and that enthusiasm. And if so, like, and then coming back to the topic of sponsors, like, when you're investing with a sponsor, you want to make sure they're in it for the long haul, and that is vital, especially if they hit any headwinds, which they do 100% of the time. There is no such thing as a perfect real estate deal ever. And so hopefully the road bumps that they hit are minor ones. Hopefully, I remember the first one I invested in, which ended up having an excellent outcome. It was in a good time in the market, but a tree fell on the building in the first like quarter, and it was a large darn tree. And they didn't have the capital reserves to account for that in the first quarter. And so they just came out and told everybody they had to pause their distributions. And ultimately, they ended up exiting that thing very favorably. This is not going to happen every time, of course. Big disclaimer. This is not some kind of, return projection here. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, more than doubled our money within a period of 3 years because the market was also very helpful at that time.
Mhm.
But I would just say that headwinds come, and that sponsor, along with every other, has a choice to say, we're going to lean in, figure out what we got to figure out, give this project, this deal, whatever asset class it might be in, the best chance of success. And so whether it applies to their business or our business as entrepreneurs, that focus and that belief is everything. It really is.
Always. My favorite one. So what now? That's when something happens, "All right, so what now? What's next?
Yeah,
What do we do now?" It's not a,
exactly
"Oh
right.
god, it's over." It's, "Okay, no, so what now? What do we gotta solve?" 'Cause at there I'm a quote guy. I was watching one of my favorite movies is The Martian,
Oh,
with
love
Matt
that movie.
Damon, and one of the very last things he says in the movie, he's back on Earth and he's teaching this class, and he said he's talking about how easy it is to die in space, but if you wanna make it home, you solve one problem, and then you
Yeah,
solve the next problem, and then you solve the next problem, and if you solve enough problems, you get to come back home, and I was like, man, that is literally the entrepreneur ethos is just it's just keep solving problems. Don't be surprised when they show up. They're always surprising in the way they show up, but just don't be surprised that they show up. You mentioned a mentor earlier. I have one in my life that is so important to me. I am where I am today because of him. And one of the things he talks about, we know exactly what's going to happen in life, Micah. We just don't know when it's going to happen.
mm,
Put your head in the sand on the idea that it's not gonna be hard, that and we talk about all of life when him and I are together because he's in his late 60s, and that's where I wanna know, "Tell me what's around the corner, man. I'm 40. What's my next 25, 26 years look like? What do I need to pay attention to?" Because when they'll just open that door and show you, you start to see, "Okay, here's how I avoid that. Here's how I can go over here. Here's how I can plan for when that happens." And just having that mindset again, that long term, and being just sober about life in general of these things are going to come. It doesn't make it bad at all. You had a
that's
1
right.
in 400 trillion chance of being human. Be really excited just about that fact. And then that life's happening for you. It's not happening to you. And that shift for me was huge when, especially looking at problems and things that arise, because in the heat of the moment, it's always easy to take it personal. And it's always
That's right.
surprising by how hard can be. But as soon as that initial shock is over, it's all right. So what now? What are
That's
we
right.
going to do? What's that next move? Whether that's calling my mentor, whether that's the GP reaching out and saying, "Hey, guys, a tree fell on the building, and here's what's going to happen, and here's where we're going to go." And you've been in leadership and business. You just have to say bad news sometimes. You have to tell people, "Hey, this is what's happening." And like you said, when you treat them like an adult, when you actually explain, "Hey, this is it," most folks are okay. And the ones that freak out, you probably don't want them investing next time. They're not really your ideal fit. Because the ones that are okay and you say, "Okay, appreciate that. That makes sense. What do we do next?"
That's right.
Those are your folks that'll come into the next project and the next project. And okay, fine, one was tough, but you keep doing it with those kind of people, you will get the home run one day, right? When you focus on singles and doubles, that's how you hit home runs. When you focus on home runs, you just strike out all the time.
Yeah. Well, and I did want to mention briefly, like, you kind of made me think of this topic as well, Mike, about like, how do people know if they're going for the home runs or the singles and the doubles? Because in the end, it is about stacking the singles and the doubles. And I think that's one of those most profound learnings in the market for myself and so many other folks in the past, particularly 3 or 4 years, is that if I look at things that have exited, deals that have exited in the last, let's just take 2024, for example. The number one performance of a deal on an exit that we've had in 2024, for example, was on a project with the lowest projected returns of any deal we've ever done. And that was like in, where was that? It was an Idaho deal. And it was just like, in hindsight, we're doing like a post-mortem on it. And it's like, there's a lesson there, there's a profound lesson to be learned of like not chasing the home run deal, not chasing sky high IRRs, focusing less on the projected return, focusing more on just the operations of the team. Because then it can surprise you positively. What you don't want is to surprise you negatively. And
Right.
that is, in terms of like goal setting, I still, even now, come back to basics. If I see like a beautiful looking investment summary, which they all are, like it's like, wow, look at this beautiful pictures, high res pictures of the property, the business plan sounds great. The returns are projected on there, all that stuff. And you look at it and your lizard brain kicks on and you're like, wow, I like the way that looks. And it's like, well, take a breath. Like I ask myself, is this for cash flow? Is this for growth? Like, what is the primary, true, simple, like make a choice. Like, are you investing for a targeted goal for cash flow, Spencer, or are you investing for growth? And of course, I try not to say anything in the third person because that's just weird. But in the in the end, it's when another member of our group comes in, or I talk to a fellow LP, and they're like, how do you get started, or like, how do you just even get clear and get past that analysis paralysis? I always come back to that. And, coming up on 9 years in this space, it's still really helpful to just get down to that. Am I investing for cash flow? I'm investing for growth, and then expand on your goal setting from there to help hit those singles, man, help hit those doubles, and stop staring at the prettiest looking investment summary deck, and just going for sky high IRRs. It's because it's less likely to get you where you want to go.
I love that, man. That's great advice. I appreciate you sharing it. Spencer, I could go on and on with you, man. I really enjoyed our conversation. For
Likewise.
those that are listening and watching in that would like to learn more from you and learn more about you, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, they can find us at our club website. It's madisoninvesting.com. And there's a button on there they can request an invite to the club. And, they will have to talk to me because I meet every single member of our group. There's no fee to join. They just will have to talk to another human being.
Right, right. I love that, man. Well, if you're listening and watching in, please check the show notes. We'll make sure that Spencer's website is there. When I meet folks like Spencer, I always recommend this. Reach out to people like this, touch base with them, folks that are thinking about it well. They've got experience behind them. They've seen things already. That is how you learn in real estate. Learn from people that are doing it. There's nothing like experience to teach you in this industry. So reach out to him, touch base. You never know, could change your life. Um, Again, Spencer, thanks for being with us, man. Thanks for everybody watching along. If you got value out of today's episode, please like this episode, share it with someone else you think you get value out of it. As always, don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate every single one of you that follow along with us. We have more episodes coming up with operators just like Spencer who are out there doing it the right way and building a real business. So thanks again, Spencer. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.